Little feedback, little reverb. We're a little loud up here, Ed. Somebody's pointing in the wrong direction. There we go. Better? I talk too loud. No. Oh, you like me loud. Okay, well, good. Then I don't have to worry about talking too loud. I'm Reverend Tracy, delighted to have all of you here this morning. I want to take a moment and wave to our friends online. There are folks that join us every week and folks that watch later in the week, so we're happy to have all of you as part of this community this morning. It's always good to remind ourselves that there is a broader community doing what we do, thinking what we think, and supporting each other along this path of life that we do. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. We have over 400 centers worldwide, everything from little teaching groups and study groups to large centers that have, 500 people on a Sunday and everything in between. And what we seek to do is to remind each and every person who comes through our doors, who hears us online, who checks out the website, that there is a magnificence in life and you're meant to have it, and that all that you need for your best life is right here. And then we just talk about how to do that, how to get to that place, how to heal what needs to be healed, how to be a light in the world, because we know that as we are healthy, we create a healthy world. So welcome, and thank you all for coming. All right, so this morning, our practitioner on platform is the Purple Patty Powers. Purple is a spiritual color. She's very spiritual today, very spiritual. Yes, she is, yes. And our practitioners are available for prayer. There's a couple different ways you can do that. You can tap her on the shoulder after service. You can put in a prayer request in the back. There's a little box with a request form that you can fill out for yourself or someone else. You can also call during the week. There's an option on our answering service that allows you to leave a confidential message if you're asking for prayer. And your practitioners will take that into prayer for the week. And what we know is that prayer changes things. Prayer creates a space for that truth to show up in a greater way. So do talk to Patty after service if you'd like. We also have some great music this morning. We're welcoming Drac, our Reverend Drac, to the keyboards today. And we're going to get started by centering ourselves as we do. I'm going to invite you to take a moment. And if you haven't already, turn off your phones and clear your laps and maybe clear your minds. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes, take a breath. And just let the sound of the bowl take your attention within. As you breathe into your own heart space, tap into that spark, that place of divinity, that place that is only love, only peace, only joy. For it is here in this sanctuary within that we remember that you and I and Spirit are all one.
So in this oneness, we feel the energy of this room. We feel the energy of each other. And we are grateful. We are grateful for the day, grateful for the extra hour sleep, and grateful for the opportunity to be here with each other. We know that today is fabulous, but the message today touches each and every person who hears it. But the message today makes us think, makes us feel, and makes us know. For that is why we're here. That is why we come together. And so with great gratitude, let us begin. And so it is. I drove to church this morning singing Karen Drucker's I Am So Blessed. It's kind of stuck in my head. My reading today is from one of the handouts you get at Agape, and it is called Thankful Heart. If we are ever feeling overwhelmed with the seemingly pitfalls, struggles, and disappointments of life, we shall set ourselves free, creating a spiritual practice that strengthens our lives. Having a thankful heart is the very spiritual antidote that sets us free. Sometimes the struggles of life can weigh us down, especially our hearts. Rather than get caught up and bogged down by these hardships, we can find relief through practicing thankfulness. Creating a spiritual practice of thankfulness allows us to free our hearts from the hijack of sadness, bitterness, loneliness, and anger. Rather than allowing ourselves to be swept up and away with the negativity and perception of disappointment, thankfulness allows us to purify and protect our hearts, allowing the spiritual quality of love to burst through. Rather than looking at setbacks as downturn, we can make a conscious choice to see the good that is emerging as these very situations that once seemed to be obstacles with no way out. These situations are divine because they are God's very reminder to turn deep within our hearts to see the good that is demanding our attention. We are asked to see the good and know it. When we anchor ourselves deep within our hearts, turning away from the phenomenon of disappointment, we no longer allow the eternal world to dictate our inner world. We set ourselves free and deepen thankfulness from within our hearts. When we allow gratitude to grow from within our hearts, we set ourselves free and ignite something so special within us. In the depths of our thankful heart, the tenderness of God's love is revealed. God's love flourishes and sets us free. We come to realize through thankfulness that God's love is always there in the midst and depth of our hearts. Thank you.
Good morning. When this composition started to come through me a couple weeks ago, I thought about innocence actually quite a bit. And looking at that, actually it's quite appropriate for gratitude because I believe that being in a simple state of gratitude takes us to a place of innocence. It takes us to a place of simplicity and clarity and brings us into such a direct connection with Spirit. It's such a simple thing, yet it's so profound. So this piece is called Innocence, that's all I call it, but it's about gratitude too.
Lovely. Just lovely. Thank you. So today we light, we light our candle for gratitude. Go figure. 'Tis the month. 'Tis the season. And I have an Ernest Holmes quote, one of many, of course. He says, "We are chemists in the laboratory of the infinite. What shall we produce?" So we have a new month and a new theme, and our theme is the alchemy of gratitude. Now, for those of you that read fantasy novels when you were preteens and teens, you know that alchemy is where you take lead and turn it into gold. It's sort of a process of transformation that might be called magical, but really is just bringing one form into another. We call that transformation. We talk about it all the time, right? And this idea of alchemy, of gratitude, is about how we can change our perception and experience of life. And when we do that with gratitude, we actually activate or turn on the power of creativity. We tap into that creative substance that we are all made of, and we direct the energy of life in a direction of good or joy or peace or whatever our heart desires. So today we're talking about affirming the good. And I want to start with a quote from Deepak Chopra. And he says that praise and thanksgiving, wrong quote, he says that gratitude opens the door to power, to the wisdom, to the creativity of the universe, and you open the door through gratitude. So when we affirm the good, what we're doing is recognizing that no matter what's going on, Spirit is at work. That no matter how hard it is in a given moment, that there is something being born that will lift us higher. That's the way that it works. And it's okay if we don't see it in the midst of the trauma or the drama or the difficulty or the challenge or the question. It's okay if we don't see it then, if we have a spiritual practice of gratitude, because that gives us a foundation, a perspective that allows us to trust that no matter what things look like right now, they will change, they will transform, and we have something to say about how it transforms when we have that faith, when we have that trust. See, gratitude isn't just a response to what's happening out there. I mean, we've all been taught since childhood, something nice happens or somebody does something nice for you, you say thank you because something happened, and so we're grateful. But the original quote isn't gratitude for all things, it's to have gratitude in all things, which means we have to bring that sense of appreciation and gratitude to whatever situation we're in. Because again, we're learning and practicing, trusting that there is something in there that's for us. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, talks a lot about life being for us. We're against nothing. When we speak our word, when we claim good, when we are willing to accept the gifts that are given from life, then we are in fact adding to the good that's in the world, and whatever form that takes. What is that good? It could be treasure, it could be time, it could be peace, it could be more beauty, it could be joy, it could be rest and renewal. Our good is determined by how we see the light of the world, how we interpret experience to our own desires, our own hearts, our own sense of fulfillment. So we can call anything good. We can also call anything bad. And you know, in this world, we do that a lot, don't we? Especially if you have a different opinion than I do. Guess what you are, and guess which one I am. Yeah. So the whole white hat, black hat thing has a place in human history, but it doesn't really have a place in the world that we wish to create, which is a world that works for all. The thing is, because it's not just being grateful for something, it's being able to see the good in everything, whenever that comes to us. But Ernest Holmes is very clear. He says that gratitude is a cause, not an effect. It's something that starts something. It's not just a reaction to. On the human level, it's very much a reaction to being grateful for what's been given to us. We see it, we appreciate it, we say thank you. But it's also what activates the creative process of life. It's like the yeast in the bread. It's what activates or starts that sustenance, that sustaining of life. Holmes says the reason that it starts things up is that praise and thanksgiving are affirmations of the divine presence, the divine abundance, and the divine givingness. It's only when we recognize that the universe is built on affirmations that we can become happy. So he's saying that when we move to a place of appreciation, we're acknowledging that there's something creative, something good, something worth noticing going on in front of us. And when we do that, we open that doorway. We take back our power. You know, I was listening to the news, and this came to me this morning. I was listening to the news, and people were talking about recovering from the hurricanes back east. You know, and some people lost everything. You know, their homes flooded out, or their house was carried away, or the winds blew the tree down, or whatever it was, they lost everything. And I heard two things in their responses when people were asking them, how are you doing? What's next for you? I heard over and over the same two phrases. We lost everything, and it's brought us all closer together, whether as a family or a community, the volunteers that were helping. We lost everything. If we stayed with the trauma, it takes our energy away from us, right? It depletes us. It's demoralizing. It's exhausting. But if we take the piece that says, and it's brought us closer together, that is a way of seeing the good in a situation. It's not instead of. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we shouldn't feel the anger or the grief or the loss or the sadness. That's part of who and what we are. It's that we remember even then that the power of healing is still within us. That ability to connect with others and be supported by them, or to connect with a faith and feel supported by that, or to have a sense of self that says, even here, even now, I can see Spirit working. We don't wish for the negative diagnosis, or to lose a job, or to stay in a bad relationship, or any of the number of things that can come at us. Nobody wants that. That's not good in and of itself. It doesn't feel good, that's for sure. But gratitude isn't just a way of feeling. We can't really will ourselves to feel differently. You know, feelings are a reaction based on how we think and how we see the world, and we can't sort of just put on a happy face. I don't know if any of you lived through the 50s, but that didn't work for most people. It might have looked like it in the ads, but it really doesn't soothe, it doesn't support, it doesn't heal. What we're called to do is to realize that gratitude is something we are. That being thankful and appreciative is something that is part of our true nature. That to look out into the world and see beauty is something we nurture, we acquire. You know, I grew up near the beach and the mountains and the desert. Now, by far, I spent more time at the beach. What I really loved was the mountains, and I thought the desert was way too hot and rather bland. It's all kind of brown. It's all kind of tan. I don't like tan. Tan is boring. Cactus were cool, but tan is boring. There's a lot of sand that's all tan in the desert in California, but the desert is beautiful. I have come to truly appreciate it, to see the nuances of light and shadow and how the environment, how nature is adapted to each other, how the birds, the cactus wren that is able to perch on the spine that would probably kill us if we fell into it of the cactus and get its nourishment from the cactus from the spine that would hurt someone else. That's an amazing web of life, and we're part of that. So it's not just that gratitude, helps us see the good in things, and that when we see the good, we feel better, or we act better, or we trust a little more. It's the way it helps us get through the hard things. It's the fact that we need to be grateful, to be thankful in times of crisis, in times of stress. I don't know, anybody feel a little stressed right about now? I read somebody called it a continued state of rising alert. Right? Yeah, I felt that when I read it, because that's what we're feeling. Regardless of your religion or your politics or where you live or your gender, your demographic, there is a rising high alert status that we have all been living in for months. For months. And the question is always, how do you manage that? How do you cope? How do you take care of yourself? So here's how gratitude can help. And gratitude, remember, doesn't mean just looking at what's happy, la, la, la. It means understanding that if you are demoralized and you can find something in you, in a friend, in the situation that says, hey, I see you, I feel you, I'm here for you, we will then be energized. In the face of brokenness, gratitude has the power to heal. In the face of despair, gratitude brings hope. Mr. Rogers, look for the helpers, right? You're in the middle of a flood. You're looking for the people that are helping everybody out, and that just rises up in you, even if you're not the one out there, even if you're not the one affected. Do you remember the days after 9/11, and you would pass by a fire truck going by, or you'd see a policeman, or you'd watch the ambulance in your neighborhood, and you'd realize what first responders really means? Do you remember in the days of the pandemic, when the people would stand on their balconies and beat pots and pans when the hospital would change shifts to give those health workers a boost of support? Hey, we see you. We're grateful for you. So we bring gratitude into a situation. We bring thanksgiving to people, to ourselves, to each other. It's a perspective on life, not just a reaction to life. It's a perspective. And that ability to perceive things differently is where our power is. That's how we tap into, hey, this happened and we're all closer. It's really what's important. We all got out safely. Yes, my house burned down. I've got all my pets and my kids and my wedding picture. I'm good. We all have the ability to look at things in a certain way, and we choose. Now, the thing is, the way we look at things is shaped by the way we've lived, right? It's what our families did. It's what our community did. We have a guilty vice when it comes to TV. There's a few shows that we like to watch that I don't know that anybody else watches. There's one called Ranch Her. It's about rural living. It's about women who ranch. And I'm not quite sure where I was going with that, but it's a good show. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll just leave that. I'll come back to it, I'm sure. Reset. So, perspective. Well, I think what caught my eye was this quote about cultivating. We consciously cultivate our attitude of gratitude, right? This is something we do. We choose to do it. Oh, I was saying how we were shaped. There we go. So if you live on a ranch or a farm, you have a different way of looking at what your obligation and responsibilities are in life. Yes? Anybody here raised on a farm, on a ranch in the country? A couple people? Yeah, you don't lounge on the couch if the cows haven't been milked or fed. It just doesn't happen. And if you have a cold, I'm sorry, the barn is over there. Right? It's just what you do. It's just how you live. And so we can choose the perspective that we have about life, and we can choose to come from gratitude. And that is what serves us all. If you think about the worst times in your life, the losses or the sadness or the trauma, and if you, as you remember them, also realize that you are here today, that you have lived through, that you have grown beyond what that was to you then. It is part of who you are now, but it's certainly not all of you, is it? And yet at the time, it may have been all of you. It may have been your whole world. My point is, we have the ability to shift our perspective about everything. What we once called horrific may still be horrific, but what we once called damaging to our soul, we may know has not damaged us. It has shaped us. Perhaps it's made us more compassionate. Perhaps it's created an activist out of us. Perhaps it has given us new ways to be in the world that allows for more healing for the people that come after us. Perhaps it simply means that we raise our children differently than we were raised. So we have this ability to remember what happened to us and around us and see it differently than we experienced it the first time. One of the things that allows us to make that transformation is that affirmation of good. It's the recognition that something has come from it, that I have come through it, that you are a new person than you were before, for the good. For the good. We wouldn't wish being laid off on anybody. But if we look back at being laid off and realize it led to a much better job, we're going to see it and feel it differently now than we did then. And that's true for everything. So that transformation of perspective, that way of experiencing even our own life, that's the alchemy. That's the process that turns lead into gold. What weighs us down becomes something that lights our way. So there was a study done. I have this. This is an article out of a magazine called, it's not on here, a magazine called The Greater Good magazine. I don't know why I found it, but there it is. Written by Robert Simmons. And the title of the article is How Gratitude Can Help You Through Hard Times. So he's talking about a study that was done. He asked people with debilitating physical illnesses to compose an essay concerning a time when they felt a deep sense of gratitude to someone or something. So think back in your life to something that you were just so grateful for. And he asked them to let themselves recreate that experience in their mind so they could feel the emotions of the time. How did that feel to you at that time? I also had them reflect on what they felt in the situation and how they expressed those feelings. Like, how did that change the way you acted? Who did you think? Or what rose up in you? And in the face of progressive diseases, these are people maybe with MS, or maybe they have terminal cancer, or they have a blood disease or something. Things that people find challenging or painful or frustrating. He thought, when he asked them the question, that they might have a hard time remembering what they're grateful for. He said he was extremely surprised. The most trouble they have was figuring out what they were most grateful for out of their lives. They said, gratitude can be an overwhelmingly intense feeling. There's gratitude for gifts that others easily overlook. I remember my mom, when she had her stroke, it affected the left side of her body, and she was grateful for being right-handed, and she was grateful for all the stuff they could do to her car so she could still drive. And I thought, okay, so you can't feel your left arm, and when you're sleeping, it roams around because you don't know where it is, and it literally would move through the air when she was asleep. She said she hit herself in the nose a couple of times and woke up. But it didn't matter to her because she could drive anyway, dance anyway, move around anyway, do everything she'd been doing before. Things some of us take for granted, right? She said the article said that gratitude can be chosen in spite of one's situation or circumstances, and that he was also struck by the redemptive twist that occurred in nearly half of these narratives. Out of something bad, suffering, adversity, affliction, came something good, new life, new opportunities, for which the person felt profoundly grateful. To affirm the good is to name it and claim it. We have to recognize it in the moment. We need to see rightly. In other words, we need a perspective that is large enough for the human experience without judgment, right? Even for ourselves, without calling it good or bad. I'm sure I'm the only person that has an internal critic that tells me constantly what I'm doing well and what I am not doing so well. And it takes a conscious effort to change that voice. You can't just say to yourself, stop yelling at me. It doesn't work. But you can replace a negative thought or a judgment or name calling that's going on inside of you. You can replace that with something loving and compassionate and kind. And when we can do that for ourselves, then we have room to be with other people. Then we have room to allow others to be where they are without judgment, to listen with compassion, to be present to them, and then to see what happens. Right now, we're in a world where somebody says something and someone says the opposite, and then they butt heads. Out loud, in the comments section, forever, getting nastier and nastier as it goes. Right? It doesn't have to be that way. Not with the people in your family, not with the people in the world, not with the people with the different lawn signs, not even within your own heart. It does not have to be that way. But it is a conscious choice to bring a sense of thanksgiving into your life every day. So I heard this great story. There's a man named George C. Ellison II. He does a lot of work in public theology, and he works for an institute whose name I didn't write down, so it escapes me. But he comes from Atlanta. He grew up in Atlanta, and he said when he was 6 years old, he asked his aunt, "How can I change the world?" And her answer was, "Baby, I don't know how you could change the world, but you can change the 3 feet around you. You can change the 3 feet around you." In other words, you can be present to the people directly in front of you. You can see them. Do you know how many people walk through this world feeling like they are invisible? Like they don't matter. Like unless they're loud and screaming, nobody hears them. You can see and acknowledge whatever is in your immediate circle, and that changes everything. That changes everything. So my call to you this week, instead of holding your breath for the next 3 days to see what happens, or the week that follows, because it'll probably take a while to figure out what's going on, rather than holding your breath, reach out and hold someone's hand. Remind yourself that the good in the world, the good that you feel here in this room, is amplified everywhere you look, if we can but see it. If we are willing to look for it, if we can recognize it from where we are. And if you can't listen to the news or the polls or the results or read the headlines, if that's too much, I'm not going to judge you. I just want you to be with the person you're with. I want you to, as Holmes says, see the divine presence, the divine abundance, and the divine givingness that's standing right in front of you, or right next to you, or quietly behind you. This we can do for each other. This we can be grateful for. Because the good is another name for God. It just is. It's who we are. It's what we are. We're called to see it, even if it hasn't shown up yet. There's a little section in the Ernest and Fenwick Holmes poem, The Voice Celestial, that goes like this. For all tomorrow's good may rest today upon your gratitude. For those who give thanks before the wine is pressed from grapes still clinging to the vine, has shown a faith above and beyond the present hour. And their thanksgiving holds the future flower. It's up to us. Namaste. So I invite you to join me in a moment of prayer. Once again, closing your eyes, taking that deep breath, and breathing into your heart space. Feeling the breath move in and out and in again. Feeling that very energy of life that is us. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. For there is only one life. And that life is God, and that life is good. And it is my life now, it is your life now, it is the life that we all share. And in that sharing, there is a unity, a harmony, a connection that is never broken. Despite the noise and the static of the world, there is truly a heart-to-heart connection everywhere we look, everywhere we stand, every time we are open to that love that we have for one another underneath everything else. For it's truly when we see beyond appearances that we feel and find that energy, that power to create a world that works for all, beginning to rise up within each and every heart. It's that ability to appreciate where others come from because it resonates in our own lives, and to offer that kindness to all. For in God there is only infinite space, infinite room, infinite time for all forms of creation. And so I speak my word for the good of our country, for the good of our relationships, for the good of our own dreams. That as we name them and claim them, as we know peace within ourselves, we see it in the world. As we engage with one another with respect and compassion that ripples out into realms far beyond what we can see. For truth is, God is good, life is for us, and we are that. And so I know that there is a way forward that is of peace, that is of compassion, that is of support and sustainment and joy. For truly, joy is the best appreciation we can give for that which is good. And I am so grateful for this teaching which offers a perspective unlike the world's. Grateful for this community, for the ongoing exchange and support between us and among us and around us. Grateful to live here and now. Grateful for my own voice, my own heart, and my own ears. Grateful for the connection of life. For I know truly it is all God. And as I choose my direction, life rushes to meet me. That as I speak my word of love or peace or collaboration, the universe says yes. And so I simply allow this prayer out into that consciousness of the one mind, acted upon by the law, which always says yes, creating and unfolding a life in space and time that works for all in so many ways, seen and unseen, known and unknown, and always, always a blessing. And so it is. You'll find an affirmation in your bulletin. I'm going to invite you to repeat after me. That allows our friends online to join us. I am grateful. I am grateful. I know the giving of thanks is the power of good in my life. I know the giving of thanks is the power of good in my life. And so it is. All right, let's welcome Drac back to the piano, please.
So I think pretty much everybody in here knows, at least it's been here a few times, that I am a hospice chaplain. And what's that? In your spare time. Yeah, my spare time. And if there's anything I see a lot of, it is gratitude in this job. Gratitude for the touch of a hand. Gratitude for the company of somebody has not seen for 10 years because they're getting ready to go. Gratitude to just be able to breathe a little more clearly today, to get a sip of water. The little things, all of a sudden they become things to be grateful for. And in my job, I'm telling you, if you could see and you could feel the things that I do, you would never be afraid of death ever again. I have seen some of the most beautiful love, and I have felt the most amazing presence of angels in the room when I've been with patients in a way that's palpable, to the point where I've gotten goosebumps and just about fell on my knees and cried in gratitude for such beauty. So this piece that I'm going to play is called Angels. I know a lot of you have probably already heard this because I've played it before, but for me, because of what Reverend Tracy has shared today and what I have experienced with these presents and with gratitude, I'm going to play it.
Fabulous. Fabulous. All right, let's take a moment and invite the ushers to come forward. It is our time of contribution. Knowing that your presence here is also a contribution to this community. It is lovely when the room feels full, yes? And to know that we have things happening and people joining us for the first time and folks finding a home here, and we want to be able to continue doing that work, and your contributions make that possible. Let's just cut right to the affirmation, shall we? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And we are truly a prosperous community. And I want to remind you, too, that there are cards on the back table if you'd like to stick one in your wallet that allow you to give via text. So if you happen to forget your checkbook or you're out on the road, you can still send us a little something when you think of us, because after all, we'll still be here when you get back. And while they're completing that, I'm going to start with all of the things we're doing, because there's quite a few. A reminder that Wednesday nights at 6:30, there's an online meditation with practitioner Nisa Burrows. It's a lovely, lovely way to spend a half an hour on a Wednesday. Just reconnecting with your own spiritual self. Nisa does a fabulous job. So think about dialing in for that. We are starting a new venture to support our Foothill Family Shelter folks. Mickey, did you want to come up and do a song and dance, or am I just going to do it for you? Go ahead and do it. All right. So, well, you know, I could dance. But I'm not wearing socks. And the thing is, it's Sock It To Me Sundays. So what we're doing this month for the month of November is we're inviting you to contribute socks. Men's socks, women's socks, children's socks, baby socks, little socks, big socks, colorful socks, very practical socks, any kind of socks. Now, stockings for Christmas, I guess you could. They're socks too. Next month, we will be doing hats and scarves and gloves. As the weather gets colder, we want to give people what they need in order to stay warm. When they come to the shelter, some of them are looking for a place to get off the street. Some of them are families being supported as they get started in the community, or maybe they've just moved here. There are all kinds of reasons why people need a little help, and sometimes buying an extra scarf when it gets cold is just not in the budget. So that's something we can do to help. So this month we're focusing on socks. I want to see socks. Now, if you look back there, Mickey got us started. There's a pair of like gray socks with red toes on them, but there's also green with toucans. So really anything goes. And think about it. If you were a little elementary school kid that needed socks, you wouldn't necessarily just want the white crew socks, right? You'd want the fun stuff. You want Nemo, you know, you want princesses. You want, just pile them in, okay? Sock It To Me Sundays. That's your choice. There's little flyers in the back too if you need a reminder to stick in with your shopping bags in the back of your car. All right, we have C's Candy. Yay! See what's on the back? It's an order form. This is where you put in the names of all the people you bought Girl Scout cookies from, and you have them order their C's Candy for the holidays. Yes, it's a fair trade. Yeah, right. Just make a list down here of all the people you're going to talk to. And don't forget that there should be at least one line for you, because you know you want some, right? You may buy, let's see, what do we have? The Toffee-ettes. You know, then maybe that goes to your aunt and uncle that you only see at Christmas time. But right next to that, there's a box of truffles with your name on it. One for you, one for them. This is how we shop for the holidays. So all of these create a fund for the center. So you're not paying any more. We are getting something for it, and you are happy, and so are all the people who are eating chocolate. So these flyers are on the back. There's also a QR code where you can just go online. What's nice is when the orders are done, if you do them online, they're going to go directly to the people, so you don't even have to do like the sort and carry all the bags and all that stuff. It just goes right to them. Or you can use these. December 1st. So you have a month to talk to them all. You know you want to, And even if you don't want to, you know you want to. Everybody go like this. All right. All right. This only works if you sell C's candy like the girls sell Girl Scout cookies. It's just the way it works. So, nuts and chews, dark chocolate, in case you were wondering. Okay, next. Yeah, well, we still have some opportunities to join our AV team if you would like to help out in the back room. Ed and Sean are back there every week. We want to give them a break now and then, and plus have a little backup. I don't know, Ed decided to travel last month or something. He thought he didn't need to be here. So it'd be really nice to have a few people that like to do that can learn to do that can take care of us when the guys can't be here. And that way, no one person has to do it every single week. And it's a great way to contribute. We have, coming up, we have a couple save the dates. So at the end of the month, on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, the 27th of November, we are doing our interfaith Thanksgiving service. Now, we hosted it last year. It was held here in the sanctuary. But this year, it's going to be at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is a Mormon stake on Baseline. So Baseline past, where is it? Past town. So, actually from here, if you go up to Mills to Baseline and turn left. No, you turn left from Mills. Turn right from Mills? Oh, yeah, because it's in the next block. Yeah, anyway, don't listen to us. Just get it on the GPS. Whatever. It's on Baseline. You'll find it. We'll have flyers. Actually, there should be flyers. If there aren't, there will be. But do save the date. That's the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. How many of you have been before to that service? It's fabulous. There are songs and prayers and readings from all different faith traditions, all talking about Thanksgiving, all talking about gratitude. When it comes down to it, we teach the same thing. Be appreciative. Love the one you're next to and everybody else too. And you can share. We do this all the time. All right, so it's a great service. Put that on your calendar. Another date. It's a little bit tentative, but I think we're going for it. We're going to have a Christmas luncheon the first Sunday in December after service on Sunday. So just pencil in, what is the date? The 8th of December. Right. No, that would be the 1st of December. The 8th. I got it. Okay. See, this is why we do this together, because together we all have one brain. Or at least one memory. So on the 8th of December after service, we're planning on a Christmas luncheon. We'll have more details for you and a flyer, but it's always fun, and we usually come up with some kind of crazy game, and food's always good, and you get to wear red and green, and where else are you going to wear your candy cane antlers or whatever you've got going on? Okay. Always. The weekly activities, the Reiki cheerleader is here in the front row. So in case you didn't know, we do Reiki once a month, yes. And if you have questions, talk to Sue. And it's also, there are flyers. It's on the Facebook page. It's in your e-blast. And we have other activities as well, groups that meet here on campus that you are more than welcome, or you are invited to participate in, like belly dancing. Nobody wants to join belly dancing? You're all just sitting there. Drac likes belly dancing. Shelley likes belly dancing. All right, and after the first of the year, we're looking to go back to line dancing. So keep that in the back of your mind, because that's way fun, but it's only fun if there's more than 2 people there, and you want to learn how to line dance. And she's a really good teacher, Anna Marie Wharton. I can see her. Anyway, it's good. Join us. We're still, as always, collecting food for Foothill Family Shelter and also in the Valley Hope Partners. Another way that we can do some outreach and support for our greater community. And a reminder that those of you on social media, like us, follow us, click us, answer our silly little surveys. It all helps to circulate who we are out there in the greater world, because if you answer or click or love it, your friends will see it, and that's always good for all of us, because what good's a light if you got it under a bushel, right? Right. You say right. All right, we're obviously done. Okay. Yes, Drac.
Speaking of belly dance, there is a reemergence belly dance hop here on November 30th, Saturday.
So Saturday the 30th, there is a belly dance extravaganza.
Oh, it's really cool. There's lots of dancing. You get to see what the culture, all the costumes, and the dance is like.
It's worth it just for the glitter. Those of you that like shiny objects, oh my gosh, everywhere, everywhere.
And they're selling shiny objects.
Yeah, see, there you go. All right, so kind of keep that in mind, yeah?
I'll be performing with the tree festival.
Oh, and drag is going to, I mean, we can't miss that. Awesome. Not dancing? No, just there, just there. All right. All right, my friends, I think that's what we have. We have coffee next door as soon as we're done. So let's stand up, move to the side of the room, and sing a little bit. If you don't know the words, just clap.
Take a look at the person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together.